And this is a cooperative horror survival game where players are going to be working together on an island filled with monsters, trying to escape before the monsters trap them there forever. And the way this game works is that players are going to be taking turns performing their actions, and there's a few different actions that you can perform and a few different characters that you can play as. And your characters are asymmetrical, each with their own health and strength, and each character can actually have a different number of actions available to them on their turn. And then you're also going to be managing your sanity. And of course, all these monsters that you're running into are beyond human comprehension, so every time you run into a monster, you're going to be losing a little bit of sanity. But a really interesting aspect of this game, and something that I think sounds like a lot of fun, is that players can discuss strategy, but you can only do it when you're on the same tile. So if you're not on the same tile, players aren't allowed to communicate strategy or discuss what they have in their hands, but you can spend your communication tokens to break that rule, but there are only a limited amount of these tokens in the game, so you're going to want to be strategic with them. And they did have the draft of the campaign page up publicly, so if you want to go check that out, I will have links in the description below. But one of the first things I noticed about this campaign is that the price on it is very reasonable, only $35 if you're an early backer in the first 72 hours. So I definitely recommend subscribing for notifications on this one if this one sounds like a game that you're interested in. But this game plays over a series of rounds, and at the start of each round, players are going to be drawing event cards. You're going to be drawing more event cards depending on player count, but these can have negative effects on the players, but they can also cause the evil monsters to perform actions and move around the board. And like I said, this is an action selection game, so you're going to be spending your actions in order to move around the board and visit different locations, and each location on the board does have its own special effect for you to take advantage of. You'll also be able to use your actions to find items, which will grant you some special abilities. You can also craft traps and put them down on the board, which will injure enemies that walk into them. But one thing to note about the traps is that you do have to pass a skill check in order to successfully create one, and some characters will be better at that than others. But in order to fight back against the enemies, players can perform magical rituals and also just do physical attacks. And then on the enemy's turn, if there's any players that are on an enemy space, then that player is going to lose sanity, and the enemies might also attack that player, but mainly the enemies are going to be trying to move towards the Heart of Darkness, and they're going to take the shortest path to get there. And the Heart of Darkness is a specific location on the board, and anytime that an enemy makes it to that location, or anytime that an enemy kills a player, then the Heart of Darkness track is going to move up. And this is really bad for players because as that track moves up, the enemies are going to be spawning closer and closer to the Heart of Darkness, which is going to make it easier for them to get there. And if that Heart of Darkness track ever reaches the maximum level, then all the players lose the game and become trapped on the island. And if you want to check out this campaign for yourself, I have links in the description below.